there's 3 reasons why somebody should buy some life insurance.
Should buy some?
Yeah.
Let's find out the 3 reasons someone should buy some.
Yeah, the second one is business continuity. And very similar to the way I asked the question is if you had died last weekend, what would happen here in the business on Monday morning?
Right.
And most
Huge.
people say either one or 2 things. Well, my spouse would inherit it. It's taken care of, no problem. Or it would be a total disaster.
Right.
And even the ones that say, I've got an estate plan, my spouse would inherit it, we'd be fine. I'd say, well, should he continue to own and run the business, or would he just prepare it and sell it? And they go, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that. You're right, I better, yeah.
Right. It's what happens on day 3 in week 10.
So life insurance this is the short answer. We're going to get into it in the later segment here, because that's certainly one of my planning areas is business continuity planning. But one of the 3 reasons to buy life insurance for business continuity, again, it's an asset that doesn't behave like any other asset. It has the highest return on the investment when you need it the most, when you die. And it can be used for really important things to protect the value of the business, like giving your employees stay bonuses so they don't quit. Oh my gosh, Carmen died last weekend. We know this business is never going to survive. I better start looking for a job. Well, if you're going to get a 25% of your salary bonus every quarter for the next 6 quarters until we can find a buyer for this company, we've just preserved the value of the business. And then there's some other obvious reasons for buying insurance to provide for business continuity that a lot of people don't even think about, but the owner often has loan guarantees, loan covenants that, the successor owner may not have the wherewithal to post the collateral to sustain regular commercial loans.
And especially when you have to make those decisions after your business partner just passed that you've been with for years, or your spouse just passed that you have to have been with for years. It's very important to have a plan before any of this happens.
Of course. And so for business continuity, it's actually easier if you have a partner who kind of knows how the business runs. But then so there's 2 kinds of business continuity that you need to plan for. Life insurance helps them both. One is the continuity of ownership. So if you have a partner, it's pretty easy. You do a buy-sell agreement, and you make the partner buy it from your estate.
Right.
And the other is the continuity of operations. That's harder. So we know that my family's going to inherit the business, at least until I can sell it. But who's going to run it? So maybe I need $500,000 of the death benefit just to go out and hire a turnaround specialist or an interim CEO who can come in and run it, keep everything held together long enough that we can sell it.
And you have these kinds of conversations when you set up policies for your clients?
Well, that's a great question. So the question is, how much of this is planning and time spent with the client and writing down detailed step-by-step guidelines as to what happens if there's a death in the business, versus how much do you just say, quote the premium and write it up. And for the last 12 years, I've done a lot of fee-based planning for business owners. One of the promises of my brand, lifeinsuranceguy.com, I'm going to give away all my planning ideas, all my checklists, all my workbooks, all my sample plans for free right here on the website.
Didn't you write a book about that?
I did. I wrote a book in 2015 called 2020 Vision, which is also available for download here on the website.
See?
And it's 13 stories, real clients, real cases, where I hired my friend Gary Greenberg, he's an author, to write the book. So I dictated the stories, and then he made them interesting. So Gary's job was, going back about 20 years ago, he worked for the National Enquirer.
Oh, wow.
He was writing stories for the National Enquirer. So I told him about buy-sell agreements, and he turned it into, UFOs coming down and sweeping away the cashier at Publix. Right. They're interesting. But each one
they're based on real situations.
They're based on real situations, real issues, real human, real business conflicts that happen if you don't talk about these things. And I had a couple of my clients write their appreciation for the book, and they basically said, hey, Chris, I know you changed the names here, but that's based on me,
right?
Isn't it?
Right.
And what I hope happens is that when you download the book and read it, that you'll say the same thing. That hey, I think that chapter or that story is based on me.
That's right.
And if that
and there's so many different scenarios in your book that I'm sure there will be.
Yeah, they do. So here we are, and we sit here recording this video. What is it, May the 14th of 2020, in the middle of the global pandemic. And my co-author, Noah Rosenfarb, and I have decided to come out with a second edition of the book. And we were thinking about retitling it or doing a new book called Hindsight 2020. Oh. But we thought we'll just write the principles and the concepts and the stuff we covered in there. We called it 2020 Vision because in 2015, when we asked somebody if they wanted to do a business continuity or a business succession plan, they would always say, yeah, call me in 5 years. So, hey, in 5 years, it'll be 2020. Well, guess what? It's 2020. Not many of these people have done any planning. Very few of them, only the lucky few have sold their business. So now we're going to do a revision. It's going to be a second edition of 2020 Vision that's going to come from with the perspective of everything we've learned from the 2020 lockdown and pandemic as to what are all the things you should have done to be more prepared for this.